I'm very excited about today's video. This is something I've been wanting to try for quite a while. I've been watching YouTube videos on this for a few weeks now, and it just looks so much fun and right up my street. So when I saw this kit in Sostrene Grene, I had to pick it up. This was £20 for the kit, and it is a DIY kit gel printing. So I'm going to show you what's in the box. You can buy all of these things separately, but I think for £20 for the kit, I think that was quite a good deal, because I think some of the gel plates on their own can cost more than that. So let's just open the box and see what's in it. So it has everything that you need to start. It has the gel plate, which is it's wrapped in like film, and it's like a jelly plate, like a jelly square. It's spongy, squidgy, and that's what you put the paint on. It comes with, this is called a brayer, although I would call it a roller. So you roll the paint onto the gel plate. It comes with 6 different acrylic paints. The colours, not very exciting, but it is a starter kit. That's quite decent. It also has some stencils. So that's a really nice kind of sun stencil. It has a tree stencil, and it has a bubble kind of stencil to use with it. You can use lots of different things with a gel plate. You can use, just paint, you can use combs, you can use bubble wrap, you can use household objects. I've seen lots of people use different things, but this one comes with stencils, which I think is a good start. And it also comes with, I think it's got 6 sheets of really thick paper. This is watercolour paper. A lot of the people that I watch on YouTube use copy paper, or what they call deli paper. So sometimes some quite thin paper. I'm going to practice. I've got some A5 copy paper that I'm going to practice on and keep these ones until I've done a couple of the other ones with the gel plate. So that's all that comes in the box. So these are the instructions. It doesn't have a lot of instructions in there, but because I've been watching YouTube videos, I've already got a kind of an idea of what I'm doing. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we will play with this jelly plate that I am very excited about. So welcome back to Crafts with Karen, the channel where I test out craft kits, and art and craft project ideas. Most of the things I've never done before. I'm not an expert in any artistic or crafty thing. I just like to dabble, and I only discovered my love of art and creative stuff possibly in my late 50s. So yeah, I'm really enjoying revisiting my inner child, if you like. So if that's your sort of thing, it'd be great if you could hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you get notified when I put another video up, which at the moment is every Friday I put a video up. There is going to be a bonus video soon, probably within the next few days, so you can look forward to that one. So let's get back to the gel printing. So let's start by taking the film off the gel plate. It obviously comes in this to protect it because it's sticky, and apparently it's got oils on, but I have seen on YouTube videos that you don't store it in those. You should store it between 2 pieces of copier paper. If anybody is an expert in gel printing or has done it before, knows what they're doing, let me know what is the best way to store it. So you can see this is quite bendy, and it does feel sticky to the touch. Now I've also seen in some videos that on your first tries with a new gel plate you can get bubbles that come up in the paint that you take off, or you can get some kind of discoloration on it. So I'm going to try it with some ordinary copy paper first, rather than use it straight onto this nice thicker paper. So we will give that a go. These are the instructions that came with the kit. So it says, squeeze the paint onto the gel plate, use the roller to spread the paint evenly, use the stencils to make the artwork, stick the paper onto the surface of the gel plate. After a couple of minutes, carefully peel the paper off. That's the only instructions on that sheet. The other ones are all in different languages. I did find something on the Sostrene Grene website that has a little video and some instructions on how to do it. So that does make it a little bit easier if you haven't seen any of the videos on YouTube. So we're going to try that method first, and then I've got a couple of other methods that I'd like to try as well. We'll start with this dark blue, and I don't think you need much on. I think you just need a little blob of it. So I'm just going to put that little bit on and then see how we go. So this is the roller, or the brayer, as I've heard YouTubers call it. And apparently you don't just roll it smoothly, you kind of keep lifting the roller off. So let's try that. It seems weird because I have been watching lots of videos recently, people doing this. So it's weird to be actually doing it myself. But it did seem like a really interesting art project. So let's give this a go. So there is the paint rolled on. It says not to put a lot on and to roll off your paint on a piece of paper afterwards, just to get the thick off. So that's what I've done. So let's try with this sheet of copy paper. So we'll just put it over the top, and then you kind of rub it onto the gel plate. So you're warming, I think you're warming the paint up to take it off the gel plate and onto your paper. And it says do that, and then leave for a couple of minutes. Let's just take the end up and see what it looks like. It does look like it's taken it off. We'll leave it for another minute. Okay, now let's peel it off. So this is called the peel, apparently. So peel it off, and it should pick up the paint. So you can see I probably haven't left it long enough because I can still see some paint on there. And I think this is what they were talking about when you first use a gel plate. You do get some kind of little bubbles on it, and some places where you're not getting just the paint. So we'll try, I'm going to put another sheet of paper on there to see if I can pick up the rest of the paint. So the idea is to pick up the paint that's on the gel plate. I've also heard, I mean, none of these is in the instructions. I have heard that you shouldn't wash a gel plate with soap and water. People use baby wipes or baby oil, and some YouTubers have actually said they don't wash their gel plate at all because it makes their next peels interesting if they've got little bits of other colour paint within the design that they're doing. So I'm going to try a mixture of those, not on camera, not on this video, but I will try a mixture of those in future when I do some more. So let's give this another peel off. Yeah, it hasn't really taken anything else up off there. So you can see there is still some paint on there. But that's okay, I'm not going to clean it, I'm just going to leave it. So I'm going to put some more of this paint on. In fact, no, I'm going to put some of the orange on and see what that looks like. I'm going to do this with the stencil. Let's see what it looks like. So this is like a peachy coloured paint. I'm going to put a little bit more on. So we'll put 2 blobs on and see what that does. Now it doesn't look like I've got any more paint on my roller because it has come off on that sheet of paper. So let's just roll that around. You can get other brands of the gel plate. I've seen something called a jelly plate, which I think is a brand in itself. But this is obviously just Sostrene Grene's one. I can't actually see a lot of paint on there. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a piece of white paper underneath this jelly plate, see if the paint shows up any better. Not a lot. Probably because it's quite a pale colour. But I want to see what that looks like with the paper. So it says put the paint on, use the stencil to make the artwork. So we'll try the, I think we'll try the bubble one. So we'll put this bubble stencil over the gel plate. Just press it down a bit. And then it says stick the paper onto the surface of the gel plate. So again, I'm just going to use the copy paper until I get the hang of what I'm doing. And we will put that over the top and then rub. You have to rub apparently, because if you just press with your fingers, you're just going to get indentations where your fingers are. So a smooth, flat palm of your hand to rub it is supposed to be better. But again, I'm not an expert. This is the first time I've done this. I've only watched other people do it. There's some really good YouTubers out there show you exactly how to do this. And I will link to a couple of them in the description box below, because I do think if you're interested in this, then it is well worth watching them. Right, so I've left this one to dry for a couple of minutes longer than I left the last one. So let's peel this and see what it looks like. That one's come out a bit better. I'm still picking up a lot of the blue that I had down first, and you can see a little bit of the peachy around it. But that's quite a nice design effect. I quite like that. And you might say, well, Karen, what are you going to do with these? But they're really good, actually, the backgrounds. If you do scrapbooking or junk journaling or something like that, if you buy papers in the shop, you know, printed papers, then that can get quite pricey. But if you can do this yourself and print your own backgrounds for your junk journals and things, then, you know, all the better. You can make the designs you want. It's just a case of getting the hang of this. You can also, you know, if it comes out as a really good design, I've got some little canvas they are canvas boards, and you could put the design, stick the design on it, and use it as a, you know, a nice piece of art. So there are lots of things you can do with these. Don't think it's just a waste of time. So that's that one. Now I'm going to take the stencil off, because apparently what's underneath is also worth trying to get a peel from, as they call it. I think this is called a ghost peel, where you take what's left on the gel plate. So let's just put that one down on there. I mean, obviously I'm just trying all of these things out. I think it's the case with a lot of arty projects. You just have to try different things to see what works. That's why I like these kits, because it does give you some idea of whether you're actually going to like the hobby before you actually go out and buy, you know, maybe better quality paints, or, you know, better stencils, or better different size jelly plates. It does give you an idea, and that goes for all art and crafts kits. And I just like to experiment, delving into my inner child. So we're going to leave that again to dry for a couple of minutes, and then we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so let's just peel this back and see what we've got. Now you can see it is still on the gel plate. I do have something of a print. It actually looks like a little honeycomb kind of design. Again, it can still be used. Maybe I have to actually rub the gel plate down with a baby wipe the first couple of times. I don't know. I'm just kind of going with it. So I'm going to try and rub this off with a baby wipe. So I've just got some basic baby wipes here, and you can see it is taking the residue of that paint off. Maybe with this gel plate it works better with the paper that comes with it, the better paper, we're going to try that in a moment, so we shall see if I can get more of the paint to come up onto the paper if I'm using a different paper. And just clean that off. That comes off fairly easily. As you can see, I now have a nice clean gel plate. I must say, the instructions that come with some kits and this one don't really have enough instructions. They could do with some more. So we're going to try some more. Let's try some brown this time. We'll try the brown one. And I'm going to put a bit more paint on. Maybe it depends on the paint you use. But we shall try this one. And let's go with that. Oh, that's a nice colour. It's like a browny purple colour. I have heard the creamier the paint, the more you're going to get onto your paper. So we shall see. This one's got some bits in it by the looks of it, but that will add to the design. I think I'm going to put a little bit more paint on there because it doesn't look very thick. I'm not quite sure what kind of paint this is. It doesn't really say. Because I've also heard YouTubers talk about opaque and transparent paint. And I've no idea which this is. It doesn't look like it's opaque because I can see the jelly plate through it. But then again, I could be talking complete rubbish. Right, we will try. Let's give the trees a go. Or do I need to put some? I'm going to try it with this paper. So what I want to do is take a print of the brown, and then I'm going to do another one with the stencil and put it back on top of this page. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to get it back in exactly the right place. So we're going to rub that, and then we're going to leave it for a couple of minutes again. Okay, let's peel this one off. Now, whether that was more paint or better paper, I'm not sure, because that looks like it has cleaned that gel plate. This is definitely what they were talking about when you're first using a gel plate. You get kind of these effects, but I quite actually like that. It looks very vintagey. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some more paint on the gel plate. I'm going to use this beige, so hopefully this will show up when I use it with brown. So we'll put some of this on. So I'm going to put some of this on there, and I'll use 3 blobs again because that seemed to work quite well. I've rolled the rest of the brown paint off onto that paper. There's still little bits on the end. You can get different size rollers as well. So let's just cover this. Yeah, I've definitely got some of the brown still on the roller, I think. Let's just put a little bit more of that on there. I know it says don't put too much paint on, but when you're first trying, I guess you're not going to know what's too much paint until you've done it. Okay, I can still see a few bits of lines where I haven't done it properly, but that's okay. Just rub that on there. Right, now we're going to put the tree stencil down on this one. I haven't got it quite square on there, but that's okay. And I'm going to put this paper back over the top of it as near as I can to what it was before, probably not exact. And we will just do the same thing again, rub and the leave to dry. This one is curling up a little bit at the ends, so I'm going to keep my hands on it just for a minute or two so it can dry in the paint. Okay, let's peel that off and see what we've got. We haven't got very much at all. Maybe that paint is just not bright enough to show up, or I haven't left it long enough. I'm going to put a bit of this white paper on to see if I can pick up any of that. It's on there. I think I'm impatient in not leaving them long enough to dry. And maybe if I wasn't doing it on camera, I would leave it longer. Okay, I got a little bit on there. Again, a little bit like the other one. I could probably use that again to put something over the top. So let's just take the stencil off and let's see if I can get anything from what's underneath. We put it on here, but I highly doubt this is going to show up on there. But we will put it on and we'll see. So again, this is what I think they call the ghost peel. So you're picking up what's left on the gel plate. Right, let's see what we get off this one. This paper is definitely harder to peel from the gel plate. You can see I've still got some on there and it's done. You can kind of see a pattern. I don't know how well you can see that in camera. Oh, that's really nice actually. If I'd had a paint that showed up a little bit better, that would be really nice. I don't know if you can see that. I can get a trees effect on there. That's really nice actually. So let's clean the gel plate again. I'm going to try it with some of the paints that I've got. So I've got these acrylic paints that are metallic. I've got a navy blue and an orange. This is Pembroke, it says. I just got these from the works, I think. I'm going to try the metallic blue. So we'll put this one down first. Just a couple of, I'm going to put 3 blobs of that down because I'm not sure how it's going to work. And I'll roll. I guess you get to know how much is too much paint by how much you roll off on your blank paper. So let's put some of this card down on here. It's hard to see where I'm putting it exactly. So I want this one to take all of that blue. We peel this one off. Okay, so this one either has too much paint or I haven't left it long enough, because I have left some on the gel plate. But that's a nice metallic blue background. I like that one. And now I'm going to put the sun on here. So I'm just going to put the sun straight onto the gel plate. And I'm going to put the paint on the stencil. I'm going to use this metallic orange. So we'll just put some of this on the stencil. Here we go, put it on the stencil. We'll put a couple of blobs. And then I'm going to roll it over the stencil. Because the gel plate's sticky, things pretty much stay where you put them on the gel plate, so that's good. They're not going to move easily. So I'm just going to put it on the bottom. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm just going to roll this all over this stencil. I don't know how well this will pick up because I've left some of the blue on the gel plate, but we're going to see. You'll see it's sticking into the grooves. We'll put a new piece of paper on the top of this because I don't know if it's going to show up on the blue. So I'm going to put it on a new piece. I do have some more of this paper that I already had, so I can play around to my heart's content once I've finished this video. I will keep you updated on any crafts that I continue to do. I possibly will do a one-off video every now and again where I show you maybe what else I've done with each of the craft boxes I've done in videos, or maybe I'll put them as a short or a community post. But I will keep you up to date with if I'm continuing to do anything. I definitely will continue to do this one because I really enjoy anything to do with paint. I'm just going to hold that down for a bit. I have dabbled in watercolour painting. I did go to a sip and paint class once a month for about a year. Me and my daughter-in-law, my daughter went. So I've got about 10 watercolour paintings of different animals and things, and I was really surprised how good I was at that. And I actually turned some of the watercolour paintings, like the hedgehog and the dairy cow, and I think there was a flamingo and a ladybird, that I actually turned into the front covers of notebooks, and I sell them through my Amazon KDP account. I'll put a link to that in the description box below in case you want to go and have a look. I'll put the pictures of my paintings on the screen for you to have a look. But I really enjoyed the sip and paint. I think I started that about maybe 3 years ago, and I was really surprised how good the pictures came out. But having said that, everybody's painting in the class came out well. So I think that's in the step-by-step instructions the teacher gives you at a sip and paint class. So it's never too late to start trying to be creative. Right, let's peel this off and see what we have. That's come out quite nice. So you can see I've still got some of the blue. So if I cleaned that plate, you can see where the metallic orange is, that would have come out really bright. But I actually quite like this one, the kind of muddy colour. I'm going to take this stencil off. I think I'm going to have to wash the stencils, and I'm going to see if I can pick up anything from this. I'm going to do it on a plain piece of copy paper, because I can definitely use these ones, the ghost ones, as bases for art journal pages that I might want to do, because you can put stuff on the top of them and you can just use it as a background. So just see if I can pick that up and make that gel plate totally clean. We can live in hope. I hope everyone is enjoying these videos. I'm really enjoying doing them. It's given me a really nice creative outlet, and it does help your mindset, because when you're doing things like this, you don't really think of anything. So I do hope you are enjoying them as much as I do. And like I said at the beginning, if it is something you're interested in, you know, seeing all these different craft kits that I'm trying, and you haven't already subscribed to my channel, then please hit the subscribe button, because I think it's a nice idea to see somebody else trying a lot of these kits who isn't an expert, and then showing you whether it's worth your money or not, whether it's easy or not, and whether, you know, you don't have to be creative at all and it works. I don't think I've had anything that's turned out brilliantly, but there are some crafts and art things I've done that I've really enjoyed. No, it's still on the gel plate. I do have a little bit on there, but I have got most of it on the gel plate. I'm not sure where I'm going wrong, that it is actually leaving paint on the gel plate. Maybe I'm leaving it too long, because it does dry very, very quickly. So this is one of the reasons why it would be nice to have a few more instructions or tips with the kits, because unless you go to YouTube and look for, you know, what mistakes am I making, and I know there is a video on YouTube where someone's doing, what mistakes are you making with gel printing? I need to go and have a look at that. But you shouldn't have to go and look for the videos, you know, if you're buying the kit. It should actually come with decent instructions. I mean, the kit was £20, so that's not especially cheap. You know, like some of the kits I've bought have only been a £5, and you kind of expect not to have everything perfect. But for £20, I would have expected better instructions, either on the piece of paper or on the website. And I don't even think there was a QR code on the box. I just went to their website to have a look. I think I'm going to leave that to dry for a little bit, because I'm not sure if you're supposed to dry that after you've wiped it with a baby wipe. I'm sure some people will give me some tips who are watching. I always look forward to your tips. I couldn't resist doing a final one of just that metallic orange of the sun, and I think that looks really, really pretty. Happy with that one. So I did do a ghost peel on that one, and as you can see, I've left some of the paper on there. Now, there is a reason that happens, and I can't remember what it was, so I'm going to have to go back and look at the videos that say mistakes you make when you begin. That's quite good for having the ghost peel that was left on the gel plate. It's now the next day, if you're wondering why I've changed my clothes. I didn't have time to finish this video off. So, my final thoughts on this kit. The DIY kit gel print from Sostrene Grene, which is £20. All in all, I think that is good value for money. You do get the roller, you get the prints, you get some paper, which I've got one piece left, and you get the gel plate, which I may need to clean. I'm going to have to watch some more videos to see how you look after your gel plate. So yeah, and you get the paints, of course. I've still got a lot of paint left. I've got extra paper I can use. So, you know, the gel plate and the roller you've got for as long as they last, which I'm assuming is going to be quite a while. So I do think it is good value for money. I don't think it is as simple as it looks on video. So I did get some prints from it that I quite like. I really like this one, that I don't think you can see the tree stencil that I put on the top. It's very, very faint, but I do like the effect of that one. I did do an extra peel in paint. I couldn't resist at the end, but I did the sun again with that orange metallic paint. I do prefer the colours, the brighter colours, to the muted colours that you get with the kit. But they're good for, you know, trying it out. But I do really like that. I think that is very pretty. I could definitely add some other stuff to that. You know, I could add some marker pens. maybe a little bit of paint just to kind of fill that out a bit, and that would look like a nice piece of art. So I like that one. This is the peel I got from that one, and I pulled the paper off when I was pulling it up, which I'm not sure why that happened, but I will find out why that happened. If anyone knows, let me know. I quite like this print that I got. Reminds me a little bit of maybe it's asteroids. I think that is quite an interesting print, so I did like that one. What else did I get? I've just got this plain one. I think this was a mix of colours. I think I used the orange metallic on there as well, but again, that is a good base for something else. That is one of the prints that I got that I kind of muddied with blue paint, and that was a peel that I got, which was just a partial, but they can be used. That was the metallic blue, again, as a base for something. These were just, I think these were the ghost prints I got. Looks a little bit like honeycomb. There was another one, I think that was the ghost print from the tree stencil, I think. I can't remember now. And that was the very first one I did with the Sostrene Grene paint, and using copy paper rather than the paper that they gave me. So all in all, I quite enjoyed that. I will continue to do gel printing. I think it's a fascinating hobby, and I think there's lots of things you can do with it. Like I said, you can get different size gel plates from various places, from very small to very large. And I think after trying a few more techniques and getting the hang of it, I think you could make some really nice pieces of art from it. I have actually seen somebody, you know those little baby board books you get with the stories in that you have for your babies when they're little and they chew on them and stuff. I've seen people use the prints that they get from their gel prints. They paste them on top of this board book, so then you end up with a complete board book of your gel prints. And it's no longer the baby board book. And I thought that was a brilliant idea. If I can find the video I was watching, I will put the link below. But yeah, lots of opportunities for using these gel prints with. So I hope you found that fun. Let me know if you've done gel print or you fancy trying gel print. I've got the sun shining in the window, so I've got a bit of a shadow running across as I can see. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.